Hey, it's Elaine. This is episode 361 of the Orange Pill Investor. Got to get the show on the road today. Boiler conked out on me yesterday, so I'm waiting on the service people to arrive. So I got to sneak in here, record, trade, do what I got to do. Plus, it's going to be good to try to catch this little pump. I've already missed half the pump. Like if I had jumped in here right at the bell and just immediately sold some covered calls, I'd already be I'd already be able to close them for some profit. So this shit is hilarious. So let's just jump right into it. Oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. What's up, Rob? Yep, let's ride the rocket ship. So the main account, obviously I love that all of my at the money covered calls that I sold on Friday are getting wrecked. Kind of reminded me of something that I was thinking about. Since Bitcoin trades 24/7, it was almost kind of inevitable that eventually there would be some kind of move that happens over a weekend or overnight. And it just made me wonder if I should just open up my covered calls on Monday. But I don't know. I don't know how many times that would have worked against me versus how many times it would have worked in my favor. So, yeah, Rico says, nice to see the volatility back up. Yeah, it hasn't really like the implied vol rank is not like skyrocketing yet. Really, it was only a 20% move, and now it's down to a 10% move, basically. So we're gonna need to see way more volatility than this before I declare that we're back. Besides, it's not March 14th, so we can't be back until Josh says so. What's up, MSTRL? What's up, Buffalo? Yeah, yeah, I had to hurry up and get on here before these boiler repair people call me and tell me they're on my way, and then I got to put the dogs up, and then blah blah blah. All right, so what do I do with these covered calls that I opened on Friday that are upside down on? Sold them for 800. If I wanted to buy them back today, it would cost me 3 grand a pop. The way that I decide whether to take a call position, a covered call position off is I take a look and I ask myself if I would put this covered call on today. And that is solely a function of how much extrinsic value is left in it. So the way to figure out how much extrinsic value in an option that's in the money is I take the strike price, subtract it from the share price. That is $26. And this option is worth 30. So that means there's about $400 worth of extrinsic value in here, which is about 1.5%, maybe 1.33% of this value. You could argue that that is about half of what I paid for it. So it might make sense to sell this or to buy this back now. But in general, when I have my strikes breached or just threatened or tested, however you want to call it, I generally just do nothing because I don't want to get into a back and forth where the price does go back below 260 by Friday and then I overpaid for these things for nothing. So, getting a 1% return in a week is not a terrible trade. So I wouldn't necessarily sell a covered call, in the money today, but I'm not really in a hurry to take this off. A lot of new option sellers freak out, and just because the price goes to 290 or 300, they think it's going to go to 450 and they panic. So I am not inclined to really touch these today. We'll just kind of see what happens. But since I have 1,000 shares and this is a green day, maybe I will add another position. So slightly out of the money, I can sell the 290. That'll give me a little bit of cash. You know what? I could just, should I sell them both? Might as well. All right. So that's going to give me a little bit of cash. If I do end up having to close these for 2 grand a pop, that's like 16 grand. So that doesn't do a whole lot, but it puts a little bit of a dent in it. And I can play the little red day, green day game. Okay, the price is up, so I buy shares. If the price is down, I buy longer calls. But what's more important is what's the price going to be in 3 months? So I could buy more long calls today with that money, or I could buy shares. I can scroll out and justify anything that I want to do, really. I'm down, even at 280, uh, it's easy to say, "Oh, we're back in the game," but I mean, we're still down 7% from last week, down 20% from last month. So if I want to call this a red day or a green day, I can just zoom out until I get the outcome I want. However, I've got so much leverage in this account. I'm really not inclined to add much more leverage at this point. Of course, now the price is cratering literally as I'm talking. Uh, are we down $5 a share since I sold this? Maybe I will just double down and buy some more long leverage or leave it in cash. Can I get 10 shares? Almost 10 shares. Let's just buy 9 shares. Oh, wait, am I done with all these trades? Let me just double check everything before I get a little too hasty. I'm like a young ant. I'm a little bit hasty here. All right, so all of my poor man's covered calls are going to be upside down. So there's really nothing for me to do here. My call debit spread, I can't imagine that those are in profit. Let's see if any of my, look at there, my September 1080s are slightly in profit. I'm tempted I'm tempted to actually, man, I wish I would have snatched those. Wish I would have taken a look at these right at the open. Might have been able to double up on these. Tempted to actually take slight profits here. Let's see, what if I sell 10 of them? 8 grand. There's an old penny stock trader named Quick Fingers Luke that I used to follow, and he said, "You always participate in the bounce." So anytime the price is up and you can snatch a little profits, and that's literally my only profitable position in my entire leveraged, uh, of all of my leverage, that's the only one that I can actually take some profits in. So now that gets me up to 11 grand, and that's getting closer. Yeah, if I have to close these and it costs me 16 grand at the end of the week, assuming that we close at the current prices, that gets me a little bit closer. So with 10 grand, I can buy 30 shares, maybe closer to 40. All right, that'll work. That's probably everything that I can do today. I was tempted to come in here and take off any profits that I could possibly scrounge up and buy some Tesla, but I don't think I'm ready for the Tesla play yet. I don't want to buy Tesla until strategy hits 1,000, maybe 750. But I definitely want to see implied vol up here above 150. At least what we had in March, 160. Yeah. I want implied vol of 150. I want a nice spike here before I go too crazy and exit too many of these positions. But the point of the title of the episode is that, let's say you're not orange pilled. Let's say you're not an irresponsibly long strategy bull, and you don't know how to pick stocks. You have no idea whether something's going to go up or down or not. An option, a share purchaser or an option buyer has only one way to be right, and that's if the stock goes up. And an option buyer is hamstrung even more if they are not right faster than decay of the position. But as an option seller, if I pay $29,000, 29.5 for 100 shares of Tesla, I can immediately sell a covered call at the 300 strike, reduce my cost basis, and even if I'm wrong, I'm going to get paid the $500 between the current share price and 300 if my shares get called away. Plus, I get to keep the $800 premium. Or if I'm running the wheel and I wanted to, sell the 290 for next week. If I'm wrong and the price goes to 285, well, I got to buy the shares at 290 instead of 292 where they are now. So I got a $200 or $2 discount per share on my purchase price. Plus, I got another $9 per share discount, which would make my cost basis actually 281. So an option seller doesn't need to even be right. An option seller can make money just being wrong Every single trade, every single cash secured put that I sell could be wrong and I can still make money. Every single covered call that I sell could be wrong, right? I could sell the 305 and it goes to 310. It doesn't matter. I made money between 294 and 305 plus the $6. Now, that I'm not trying to say that it's perfect because it's still a bullish position. And if I sell a cash secured put, the 290, and something happens and I don't know. There's a nanobot attack on every single one of Tesla's factories and the fucking company goes bankrupt overnight, then, you know, this covered call that I sold for 700 bucks isn't going to save me when the price of my shares goes to zero. So, I'm not saying this is too good to be true. I'm just saying if you're dumber than a box of rocks without the rocks in the box, you could still make money running the wheel on any stock that just doesn't go into the toilet. As long as it just doesn't completely go bankrupt, then the wheel can probably generate some profits. Whereas if I buy Tesla and straight up, I have to just sit on my hands and hodl and wait for the price to go up. Or if I buy a leaps in Tesla, I have to cross my fingers and hope that the price goes up faster than, if I wanted to be a degen and buy, an at the money call, my break even is 305. So the price has to go up like over 3% in 1 week for me to not lose money on this position. So that's what I mean by option sellers can make money being wrong. I can literally just be wrong all the time and capture a profit. I can't be like super wrong. If the price goes to zero or the price drops 50%, there's no amount of option selling that's going to save you from a losing position. But as long as you're just a little bit wrong, um, there's money to be made as an option seller. Whereas an option buyer, you gotta be you gotta be really right. You gotta be like crazy right. All right. So that's the theme for today. I don't think did I spend all my cash? Yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna skip over the Misty account, nothing to do there. I think I'm still down like 30 grand more than Misty. So Misty's down like, I don't know, 20%. I'm probably down 30%. Um, yeah, I probably won't catch back up to them and if we see 325, 350, I'll probably start winning that challenge. But as long as we're still down under 300, I'll be getting kicked in the balls. All right, so let's take a look at this account. So my 325s cost more than I bought them. Probably won't be doing anything here. Same situation here. Um, and maybe I'll mention it now, but I'll probably do a completely separate video that's kind of related to what I'm talking about today. Option sellers get paid to wait, and option buyers get paid to act. So, in general, when I sell a call, I'm making a decision when I open that trade that I'm probably going to do nothing for at least half of the duration. Because the whole point is waiting for theta, this number way over here, is waiting for theta to drain out of the buyer's account into my account. And that happens at its maximum rate under 45 days. So that's why it's going to be extremely rare for me to buy a call under 45 days. Now, I'm not saying that the options under 45 days are not priced correctly. They're all priced correctly, but you have to be fluent in a strategy that allows you to take profits quickly. So if you're a momentum trader, if you're a swing trader, some type of day trader that you have experience opening and closing trades, either same day or maybe holding it over, um, crossing your fingers and hoping you'll get some extra profits the next day on a swing trade. Um, if you've got a good momentum, um, a good trading history, trading momentum, then good on you. I don't have that skill. It's one that does seem kind of exciting to learn, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. So for me, as an option seller, I'm expecting to sell it and then do nothing and just wait for myself to either be proven right that the price stays below or be proven wrong, and I will deal with the consequences closer to expiration. But an option buyer does not have the luxury of waiting. And that is the main learning lesson from November. If your trade horizon is December of 2025, then it's too early to even call, um, you know, not exiting all of these leveraged positions in November a mistake. However, I think I'm willing to call it a mistake because an option buyer, like, you've already won. If you can 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x your money when the price goes up to 500 a share, it's certainly possible that you could 20x your money by waiting until November of 2025. But what's the point? Like, an option buyer needs to act as soon as humanly possible to book those profits. Otherwise, shit like this happens. And the 10x that you might have been able to book, time starts working against you, and time plus direction working against you is just catastrophic to your overall portfolio value. Here, it's perfectly fine for an option seller to go nuts and sit and wait and do nothing. But if you're buying options here, the price 4x's, which means if you had any leverage whatsoever, you were doing at least a 2x of the share price. So anybody who bought options anywhere in here were probably getting at least a 5 to 10x. For an option buyer to wait for more profits is is the complete opposite of what needs to happen. So option sellers get paid to wait, option buyers get paid to act. That's To me, that's this lesson. Um, Let me see. I'm just gonna check the chats real quick before I proceed. I haven't gotten interrupted by the phone call that these oil people are on their way. I'm hoping they'll give me at least 15 to 30 minutes warning so I can finish up this recording. Emperor Lightyear, let's get it. Hell yeah. Buffalo, I'm not convinced on this rally just yet. Oh, I'm not convinced at all. Yeah. Um, I don't I'm sure the buy the rumor, sell the news is a real thing, and so I don't know, is this a news event? Um, Probably. Like if we got some bad news and the price dropped to 200 a share, I wouldn't be like, "Okay, the bull cycle is over." And so whatever this correction is, before we get the next rocket ship, like, strategy, I don't think was just waiting for this announcement, especially as shitty of an announcement as it was of calling it a crypto reserve and not even mentioning Bitcoin until the fucking follow-up tweet is like, um, yeah, could have been way more bullish. So an announcement like that, I don't think, I guess if they said they were implementing it immediately, like, yeah, they're gonna start smash buying freaking Bitcoin. Um, Maybe that would be enough to kickstart a reversal, but this just seems like a repricing event. I'm not mad at it. That's for damn sure. But we can't we can't get the rocket ship until March 14th. So I'm being sarcastic. I don't make any real predictions. I am probably going to kind of assume, if we're still trading under 300 on March 14th, I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and just assume the rocket ship happens somewhat around Josh's prediction. So we'll see. I'm gonna look to be closing as many covered call positions over the next 2 weeks as I possibly can. So we'll see. Yeah, Rob says this weekend was a pretty unique event. Wouldn't change any thinking based on this one. Yeah, there were way too many. There was way too much bullishness. Like, hardened Bitcoin vets are not even supposed to be moved by the 20% drawdown that we had, right? This is like yawning moments, right? To drop from 100 to 80 is like, yeah, whatever, dude. Nobody's even phased by this. So, am I supposed to just be, completely just bull fueled by getting back the gains from the dip? Like, not really. Um, I'm not a big technical analysis person, but you can't get all-time highs until you start seeing higher highs and higher lows. And so now we don't have any of that. We've like hopefully this is the lowest low. um so, maybe 90 will be a higher low, and then if we see 95 as a higher low, and then we see, I don't know, 100 as a higher high, and then we need to see this creeping back up, not just like one data point on the frickin' chart. But at the same time, scrolling out, this doesn't even look like this is nothing. Like, this dip is nothing, and then the little rally, if you want to call it a rally, you can't even see on the chart if I scroll out far enough. So yeah, this doesn't really change anything about the thesis. It's, Bitcoin's going to whatever, base case 150 to 200, and if you're fully loaded up on bull fuel like Tim, and he's actually in good company. I know a lot of people have a lot of people were responding to his tweet like, "Come on, this is just engagement farming." And every look, every tweet is engagement farming. I don't really some people wanna say, "Oh, you have to have, like, pure intentions when you post on Twitter," like, come on. Every single unless you're a monk with a vow of silence, every time you open your mouth, it's an expression of ego. You're basically saying, "Whatever I have to say is worth someone else hearing." So when you post on Twitter, you're basically saying, um, "Somebody's gonna love this tweet," right? Like, somebody's gonna be so impressed with my intellect or my cleverness that they will be moved to reach over and tap like or repost or whatever. So you unless you're just silent and you never say anything, you know, every time you open your mouth or post a tweet, it's an expression of ego. So I'm not even mad at engagement farming. A lot of times it is grating if it seems a little too transparent, like you're just asking dumbass questions or saying dumb shit to get people to respond to it. But, yeah, I don't see it that way. But some people were calling those $1 million calls as just, I don't know, clickbaity or whatever. But he's in good company because I saw Samson Mao getting interviewed and he was talking a million, right? So I don't think that, he's being accused of engagement farming when he's calling for 1,000,000 in 2025. But, you know, and BitPayne had a good point. He was basically calling the announcement with the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve and including the shit coins, he was calling that, an art of the deal, um, textbook art of the deal. You ask for more than what you want, and then when people fucking lose their minds about shit coining, then you back off and get Bitcoin only. Um, I don't wanna give Trump too much credit for being that clever, but he's a pretty good salesman, so that may have been the point. I will have to give him some props. I mean, if we end up with a Bitcoin reserve, um, without shit coins in it, that'll 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 be kind of, it'll be kind of shocking for me, actually. I tend not to give any politician credit. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I really couldn't care less. Um, I'm slightly more optimistic with this administration than if, Biden 2.0 had gotten in. So, glad for the outcome, but none of it moved me enough to actually go down to the polling stations and cast a vote one way or another. But, anyway, that was that was a tangent I didn't mean to go down. So Buffalo says Josh said he was gonna start nibbling. And when you say nibbling, what do you mean by that? I'm pretty sure he closed at least half of his IBIT puts. I don't know if he finished closing them or not. But I think he was calling I don't think he was selling any calls under 300. So he could probably still close most of his positions over the next 2 weeks, close all of his shorts over the next 2 weeks as long as we stay under 300. But I don't have all of his strikes and expirations memorized, so not sure. Rico, do you take wash sale rules into consideration at all? Not really. And I probably should a little bit. And that's why I am kind of excited to be able to do a little bit of rebalancing between two positions. So when I get strategy and you know what, what's STRK trading at right now? 90. So it hasn't even really moved. So with Bitcoin fluctuating around Strike hasn't even really done much of anything. So it was up to 100 mid-February, mid to late February. Huh. Yeah, I guess it did. I guess it did go down on Bitcoin's. Anyway, something like Strike might be something that I could use as a pairs trade with MSTR, but I'd really like to be able to rebalance between Tesla and MSTR over the next 10, 20 years. And that might let me avoid some of the wash sale rule. I just downloaded my PDF for all my trades so I can do my taxes for 2024. And I had like 15% of my short term gains was wash sale rule. So it was all disallowed. Um, so how bad is that going to hurt my taxes yet? I don't know. I haven't plugged in all the numbers, but I think for the average trader, they should absolutely take into account wash sale. So the way that I trade in and out of MSTR shares, the average person would probably want to, do that less, maybe like, okay, if I'm going to take a loss, maybe I don't buy those shares back for 30 days. I guess you could pay attention to that. Um, or just stay in cash. If you take some profits, well, sorry, not if you take some profits. If you take a loss selling your shares, um, yeah, maybe you could just go to cash and not be flipping in and out of shares that fast. However, since I quit my W-2 job last year, I'm pretty sure I will be approved to become considered an options trade, or excuse me, a stock market trader as my only job. And if the IRS does approve that, I think I'm allowed to um, basically just ignore wash sale rule. But I'm not a tax advisor, so double check that. And if you don't have that IRS designation, then yeah, you should probably pay attention to the wash sale stuff. And even if you are designated as a day trader or whatever, you'll definitely want to double check and make sure that I'm thinking about that correctly. But yeah, I just trade and don't really worry about it. But for someone trying to optimize their taxes, they should pay attention for sure. It's a good point. What's up, Coder? China having closed doors meeting on an SBR. No shit. Okay, so Buffalo says he's going to start going long soon. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm missing YouTube comments again. Yeah, I don't know what in the hell. I don't know what's up with Restream today. Let me just double check and look at. Let me pull up YouTube. I don't know what in the hell. Oh yeah. All right. So taking a look at the YouTube comments. What's up, Howard? 11X says I had to deleverage on Friday at the bottom. Was that because of margin? 24 hours to live says, do you realistically think strategy can get to 750 a share before the end of 2025? I would be disappointed if they're not at 1,000 a share. But I won't be deciding whether to exit these positions at a particular number. I'm going to be looking for this implied vol spike. So if we get, you know, back to 500 a share and it happens so quick that we get a spike like this, I'll be taking off my leverage. But if we see this at 750, 1,000, whatever, um, and just taking a look at, so we were at like pre-split, we were at yeah, like 115, 125 a share back here. And then it did, I'm sorry, it's off the chart now. It was like 50 a share. And we did a 4x in like 6 weeks or something. And then we were at 125 here. We did a 4x in 8 weeks. So whatever the bottom happens to be, if it's like a 250, right? If 250 was the bottom, if we 4x from here, that gets us to 1,000. And I'm not saying that history has to repeat itself, but history has shown that it's at least possible. So I don't think it's unreasonable to think that, 4x off the bottom followed by 50% consolidation is unreasonable because we've done it several times. We did it here, we got a 4x, and then it went down 50% from all-time highs. We got a 4x here from the bottom to the top. And so far, we've consolidated 50% off the all-time highs. If Bitcoin gives us another run to 150, then that's what? A 2x from the bottom. If we get to 160, like if 80 was the bottom, wherever that 80 was, and we 2x from the bottom, we get to 160. If Bitcoin 2 or 3x's, excuse me, no, like 2x's, then strategy's got to like 3 or 4x. Yeah, so I don't see $1,000 a share being unreasonable. However, um, I'd like to see two of them. I'd like to see something happen maybe before May, and then, there's so many different sayings. There's the sell in May and go away thing. So if we get a pump before May, maybe I'll exit all of my leveraged positions and just see what happens over the summer. And if we get another all-time high followed by a 50% correction, maybe I'll load up with leverage in the summer sometime. So I'm not really looking for a share price number. I'll be more paying attention to the implied vol chart. All right, so good question. 1 says closing a call at 50% loss, holding another call at 99%. Yeah, I'm not sure what your expiration dates are. All right, yeah. So unfortunately, the YouTube comments, I have them connected to Restream, but they are not coming through. So not sure what the deal is. Buffalo, he's going longer. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look and see if there's anything else I'm going to be doing. I feel like I kind of missed the opportunity to add any covered calls, but I think most of my other accounts, I was fully like maxed out on covered calls anyway. Yeah, so there's nothing really for me to do here. I could, you know what? I skipped over this one. Let me go back and look and see if there's any long positions I can actually close for a profit. The September 1080s. Interesting. I have slight profits here. And of course, my poor man's covered calls. So my longs are in profit, but of course my shorts are in a loss. But this is kind of the proof, or this is what you want to see to find out that you structured your poor man's covered calls. When the covered call goes against you and my short strikes are threatened, in order to close them, I would have to pay $700 per contract. But my longs are up 2 grand. And so that's if that's happening, then you structured them correctly. If it would cost me 2,700 to close the short and I only got a $2,000 profit in my long, then you fucked up. You sold your strikes too low. Like maybe if I had sold the 275 or the 300, that might have been the case. And this position would be going against me. So this is at least encouraging. So let me just it was these, right? I'm just gonna sell one. I'm gonna be faithful to my boy Quick Fingers Luke. He was a penny stock trader that turned like shitcoin. I can't even call him a shitcoiner because he was so good at penny stock trading. He just looked at altcoins in the same philosophy as the penny stocks, and he seemed to be pretty successful doing it. So I thought his account went away. I looked for it recently and couldn't find it. So I'm just going to take a little tiny little bit of profit here, which kind of feels good because ever since November, all of my long leverage has been absolutely decimated. So the fact that I can even, I mean, this is only like a, what? This is not even a 50% profit here, $3 a share or $3 per contract. So that's like, yeah, 50%. So I got a 50% return on this, bought it for 6 and sold it for 8, 20 something. No, that's not 50%. 35 maybe, whatever. Um, and I know that's kind of boring in the options world. You want to get a 5x or a 10x or whatever. But even just taking the smallest little win feels pretty good. Same situation here. So I've got this. Wait, that's is that the one that I sold against that? Yeah, it is. This long call is still in profit somehow. So that's nice. um, these are creeping up a little bit, getting a little bit closer to being in profit. So again, let's see, I can buy 3 shares, right? All right, cool. So I only took profit. I had like 8 of those calls, right? I took a 35% profit on one of the 8 and let the others run. All right, this is my allowance account. These are all still getting destroyed. These Septembers that I just bought, I could do the same thing. I could take a teeny tiny little just scrape a profit in here. Is that worth doing? Yeah. I really should have struck while the iron was hot, closer to the open instead of running my mouth. I can get what, 15% or something. So I think I'll just stand pat there. And then the challenge account. I might have waited a little bit too long on these as well. So Julys are still getting wrecked. All of my poor man's covered calls shouldn't be anything I need to do here. Where's the oh, I don't have any Junes in this account, so it's just July. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything for me to do here. Let's take a look at the 5K account. I don't think I was assigned any shares. I have 100 shares of CLSK, 100 of Wolf, and I've got a call in each. So nothing to do really there. I'll be more than happy for these to get called away, even though I think my cost basis is over $10 a share. Let's take a look. Just over 10. So that would be fine. That would basically be breaking even on the share price, and then I would basically just be keeping all of the premiums I collected um, as my profits, breaking even on the shares and keeping the premiums, and that's perfectly fine on a wheel strategy. Okay. Um, the 1080s. Is there any profit that I can take in here? Yeah, my average cost is $3. I could. Yeah, if I had jumped on that, I could have sold them for 450. Yeah, I think I kind of missed. I think I missed the boat on taking any profits on any of these 1080s. And really, I've got time. I've got until mid-April to make a decision on these Julys. And I don't think I have any buying power to speak of. 300 bucks. Nope. Okay, so nothing to do here. All right, let me just check chats again. All right, nothing on Restream. Let me check YouTube again. Yeah, one says yes on margin. Yeah, that's brutal. And yeah, that's just kind of like how does it go? The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Um, yeah, whenever I use margin, I try to imagine the worst case scenario. And so since we've seen 50% drawdowns after rallies, I would assume that a 50% drawdown would be like my base case. And I would probably like, okay, I got to make sure I don't use any margin that would cause me to liquidate beyond that even, right? I would kind of like assume a 75% drawdown. So 500 a share, we'd have to go, you know, I wouldn't use any margin that would liquidate me until I got below like 125 or something a share on strategy. So yeah, that's rough, dude. All right, I think we're all caught up on the chats, and hopefully this kicks off the rally. But if it doesn't, nothing changed about the um, the bull market. I can't imagine that the Bitcoin bull market is over already. Still plenty of catalysts um, that we're waiting on for both Bitcoin and strategy. So grateful for a little bit of life in the market, but yeah, nothing that caused me to really change my trading strategy. Just made a few tweaks. And so I think I'll probably in the same boat as Josh in that over the next couple of weeks, I will start trying to trim off as many of the short positions as I can, and then wait for the rocket ship.